Hi, my name is Piper.
I'm Amy.
And we just kind of decided to make a book blog. Right now the camera is stacked on some books, just to tell you. Yeah, it's probably not the best time to start this because we're going to college next year, but it's okay, we'll figure it out. It's fine. So today we're just going to kind of like introduce ourselves and we're going to say our favorite books and what we're actually currently reading. Picking one favorite book is like picking your favorite air particle. It's hard, okay? Okay, Amy.
So I'll talk about my interest through my favorite books, actually. I'll start with Musicophilia, which is a nonfiction book about how music affects the brain. I play flute, and actually that's probably what I'm going into as a major, even though I am looking at English, like the amazing Paisley. I mean, she's my inspiration. I love this book. It's fantastic. Oliver Sacks, unfortunately, is actually quite ill right now, but he has an amazing view on life, and just the way he writes about other people and how he cares about them and their stories, and the importance of music. I mean, saying how music can be a trigger for terrible things and for wonderful things in the human mind.
Like how you hear a certain song and you remember something.
Exactly.
It's so great.
I couldn't choose like my favorite book by one of my favorite authors, Haruki Murakami. I actually don't know how to pronounce his first name. He's Japanese, but he has a Western influence, so even though all the stories are set in Japan, all of his cultural references are from the US, which I think are really funny. This is one of his many short story collections, Blind Willow, Sleeping Woman, which is weird because every single one was about an affair of some sort. He's a weird thing about affairs. Wasn't it, like, really depressing? Very depressing, too.
We were in French class, and she was talking about this, and I was like, oh, I want to read Murakami, and she was like, it's really sad, and I was like, oh.
Everything is just it's like fantasy-like, but written in an adult way, and I love it. This is the Wind-Upper Chronicle. I think it's probably his most famous.
Look how ratty that is. Look at all the tape.
Look at
that. Look at that.
Because it took me so long to read. The one thing about Murakami is, especially his novels, are long. I mean, very fine print, 600 pages, but they're fantastic. Like IQ 84, one of his other famous ones, is super long. I've not read that one yet. Mm-hmm. This one I like. Even though the way he came up with the ending, which I won't spoil, I found was a little weird. He's able to set these moods that I love. My favorite book by him, I don't have on me, is Hard-Boiled Wonderland and the End of the World. That one literally involves unicorns in it, a girl who wears all pink, just crazy things that make no sense. And you'd think, oh, that's stupid. Like, you read the back and you're like, that just sounds crazy, but you read it and it makes sense and it's cool, so.
I love when writers like do that.
But it's really cool because it's actually an alternating thing between his real life and the reality he's creating in his head, because he's also a cyborg. Oh. So.
Like the Lunar Chronicles. Cinder's a cyborg. Oh, like you could just see it behind your eye and like no one would know that you're like looking up their entire history. It's like CIA stuff.
Yeah, I see that. And the last thing, my favorite, is my favorite poet, Pablo Neruda, who, fun fact, I thought was a woman for the longest time.
Pablo?
Writes primarily about nature, and he's just so subtle and so soft when he writes about nature. I'm like, no man could write like that about... He did. Yeah. Fully Empowered is the one I have here. I actually have not read much of this one. Odes to Common Things, which is my favorite of all time, because he's usually a nature writer, but he just finds random stuff like that you would find around the house and write love sonnet to it. Like Ode to a Pair of Socks. It's fantastic.
Same.
I love it. Poetry,
she sold this on me. She just brought this out and she like sold it. She was like, look, Ode to a Violin. I was like, you got me. You got me. Because I play the violin.
Like, I love nature so much, so when I read him, I just feel one with nature, and it's amazing. Talk about what I'm reading right now, which I literally just started yesterday. It's more poetry, which I actually don't read much of.
It's a big ass book.
I know, it's really big. Anthology of Modern Irish Poetry. I had a friend...
She's Irish, by the way.
That's another thing about me. Even though the guy I started reading, which is Seamus Heaney. Seamus is like a really common Irish name. My mom told me to read it.
Seamus Flanagan from Harry Potter. Just had to get that out there.
But like,
even though he's Scottish.
Even though like it's beautiful imagery, being outside all the time, being farmers, all this very interesting stuff about Ireland, then there's just a random poem about killing kittens. And it's really sad. I know. Hopefully not the rest of them are like that, but it is kind of in the Irish heritage for them to be kind of down and sad about things. Okay, so those are all the books I brought to talk about.
I guess it's my turn then. So I will talk about what are my favorite books. As I said before, this was very hard because I read nonstop. So the books that are my favorite of all time, obviously Harry Potter. I love Harry. He's my baby. Especially the Deathly Hallows, as you can see, it's kind of ripped. This is the only hardback copy I have in the Harry Potter series, because we bought it so new. Like, by the time I had started reading all the other Harry Potters, they were out in paper. I started reading Harry Potter until the 5th grade, and then I zoomed through and I was like, oh my god, what have I been missing my entire life? Guilty pleasure. I buy the series multiple times. I have it in the Scholastic American cover versions, and then I have the British covers or the European covers. I still need to buy the 7th one on that, and then I have the entire series in French also. So Harry Potter is my baby. And then a really good fluffy read, like that I love to just reread. I actually just read this over winter break or something like that, but I read it for the first time and I was like, this book, oh my god, it's so cute. Annie and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. Oh my god, I was just, the entire time, I was like, this is so cute, oh my god. And I like pretty much melted into a puddle of like cuteness, because Anna and Tiana are just so adorable, and I was like telling her, and it's set in France, so I'm just like, I know where that is, I've seen that, I know where that is. Oh my god, so cute, so cute, oh my god. These last two are like the feminist in me coming out, because let's be real, ladies, we gotta do it. Codename Verity is about two women during World War II. One of them is a pilot and the other is like a freaking spy. So it's just like, wow, come on. Elizabeth Wine, she's such a great author, and she wrote 2 other books that are kind of like set during World War II, I think, and both have to do with planes. The second one was set during World War II, towards the end of it, called Rose Under Fire, and they mention a Piper Cub in it, which I was named after, so you can tell I kind of freaked out a little bit. But yeah, my favorite quote, it's like being in love, discovering your best friend, and I'm just like, yay! Yeah.
It's such a good book. She recommended it to me, she forced it on me, and I loved it so much. It was great.
I remember. I read it in like 2 days at the beach, while I was at the beach, and I was like,
it's really
like, you can just read it over and over, and you still feel the suspense, and you're just like,
there's so much suspense.
So good. And like the way it's like weaved, it's like you don't see the coming, and then when you see, and then when you find out the ending, you're like, my mind is blown, and then you want to reread it. It has 2 point of views too. Maddie Brodat, who's one of the main characters, and then Julia Beaufort Stewart, who's the other main character. Jane Eyre is my last favorite, because Charlotte Bronte is just such a great author, because I think it was during the 1740s? 1850s. Okay, I was a century off. You don't expect, like, there to be feminist writings during, like, the 1840s or whatever, because nobody thought women had power or anything, and she's just like, nah. Nah. She's like, screw your gender role. One of my favorite quotes is, I am no bird and no net ensnares me, and I'm just like, yes. I mean, it's a love story, but it's just not, like, a really love story. Like, she doesn't do what the reader wants her to do, and I love that. First time I read it, I was kind of like, you're not supposed to do that, like, you're supposed to do this, and then she didn't, and then I'm rereading it and I'm just like, yes. Yes, you do you do you. The last book that I have, it's not a favorite, but I have read it before. I'm rereading it right now. It's Paper Towns by John Green, because the movie came out and I want to watch it, but I don't want to like forget everything, because the first time I read this, I hated it, because I was like, it's not really a romance book, and I expected it to end happily between them. It doesn't end the way I wanted it to. I was living in like a happy fantasy land freshman year of high school. Now I'm more cynical, kind of, because I'm totally fine with this. Like, Looking for Alaska, I was like, this is such a great book, even though it doesn't end how I would have liked it before. So I'm rereading this now, and I'm hoping I will like it.
Good.
Yep, and that's it.
Thanks!